she just goes really nicely. You watch these things, you watch them on YouTube. Just puts it around, holds it really nice and looks like, so did you really, tell that person this? And they're like, yes, I did. She doesn't like hurt anybody, and she just like, it's just about the truth. It's just like, tell me the truth. What did you say? What did you do? What did you mean? So anyway, that's a great superhero, but Spider-Man is a superhero that I really like, and I think there's Spider-Woman, Spider-Girl, but if I was hanging off a cliff and Spider-Woman showed up, it would feel dubious, right? I mean, really.
Why are you here? Can't they send you?
Like if Spidey came, you're going to be okay, But if Spider-Woman came, you'd be kind of like, and then what am I going to have to do for you? Or Spider-Girl, like, okay, God, thanks for coming, but you don't know. And I just think that's still part of, these things about like images of women that have power that is reliable and trustworthy and strong, and and it's so funny because there's all these icons of women that are like the Madonna and taking care of their babies, but somehow in superheroes it doesn't translate. Anyway, so back to the fishnet stocking.
Let's do it this way. Here it is. It's stretched out. You walk in the room. What did you do with it? Did this go into the big crusher? Where does it get involved with the paper you're making?
We started with smaller samples of fishnet. I didn't imagine doing a whole body. I started just with fishnet stockings. This is also comes from a whole suit, but it's sort of more on this size to see. It's actually in thinking about Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, liking sort of anti-gravity things that Spider-Man can do, and looking at a lot of that imagery, the spider-web shooting around, and when you take a fishnet stocking, it kind of looks like that. And I really like that energy of potential motion. It's like, and it's about transportation. It's like, moving. And you can go some more detached and keep going. And to me, it's more that than, I guess, many ideas about spider web being trapped in it and so forth. But I like this idea of movement and travel.
Well, parenthetically, it's a loaded image now because of the internet, webs, and so on. But take us back to walking in here. Did you have this in your mind, or did this?
Not at all.
What did you have in your mind when you first came here?
I did not know. Like I said, I was really worried I wouldn't be able to figure out something to do. But I started with actually first elastics and snapping
rubber
them.
bands?
Yeah, like the kind that's like on a gift box, that gold stuff, but covering it with pure pigment, snapping it into paper, sort of wanting to have that motion happening.
So the paper would stand here and you'd snap it?
Well, this is the thing that makes it different from making prints. Here, you're working with pure pulp, which is fibers that are soaked in water, and whatever you put in them, it absorbs into the whole thing. So it's not like you get just like skid marks on the top. It's like it gets soaked in and embedded. So you would take either pure pigment, and I would try that on top, and then press it, see what happened, or we would press some paper and try it on top, and then I just got a little bit more adventurous with like a whole stocking, and we tried to embed that with paper on top, so like the whole thing would be inside. And then I think maybe on the fourth day, I was walking around the corner to one of these wonderful stores in the garment district that my art supply stores essentially that have a great selection of fishnet stockings and bodysuits and stuff, sort of like the instant stripper outfit, and got a whole suit and just sort of thought, well, let's go with this. And I was just thinking, well, maybe we'll just try a part. We ended up just going with the whole thing.
What's the atmosphere like in here? Noisy, a lot of water, Paul's working the big crusher, you working at the little crusher. How do you do it physically? How do you?
Well, I would come in and I would talk to Paul. Paul's back there. Paul is the master of pulp and paper and art and ideas, and he's such an incredible resource and facilitator of ideas. You'd say, would this work? It's like, well, this is probably what's going to happen. Or, well, yeah, you can try this. Or then you'd say, well, what about that? It's like, well, I don't know. Let's just try it. You try it. it's been so much experimentation, which is what was so great. So when I would come in every day, I took the lanyard off, no cell phone, nothing, and then someone would have a great iPod going, and it would be the whole studio pretty much. Me with Paul and Kat, who's now in her own paper mill out west. Other cat, many cats in the house, but there's another cat.
Okay.
So that was sort of my group, and we would sort of go back to our previous experiment and try other things.
Had you ever worked with any kind of machines like this before?
No, but it definitely excited me. In fact, they work with the crusher and the baby crusher, and that you're like, you're just squeezing so much. You've got so much pressure going down on this, pulp of paper, and it's squeezing the water out, and then you watch, like with whatever pigment you have, it starts to like run like this beautiful pool of ink down to like there's several drains in the floor, and you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I think we're getting a really good color, but you don't know, like maybe it's all squozen out. It's sort of all these tests in the beginning anyway. So it's the whole space it's a fabulous studio where it's very neutral, but it has water. It's not unlike what I imagine a cheese factory would be like artisanal cheeses or tofu, because everything's very clean. It feels and there's just lots of water and screens and things pressing through, and it feels really special in this way. It's not like going to a print facility where you've got harsh inks, things are rolling, there's noise. The only noise you really hear is the music playing, and you're working with paper, and this makes a little noise. It's more of a vibration, in fact. And but you have the same kind of experience of photography back in the day when you develop in a dark room, because you have this waiting around the crusher, like, what are we going to see?
What do you do if it doesn't work out?
Well, that was part of the cool thing. It's like suddenly you're like having this critique. It's like, all right, well, this, is getting a good image here, and what if we try a little more pigment that would... One of the things that we worked on a lot was trying to select pigments, and pigments come in different forms, in powder and liquid, and then different actual colors of pigments behave differently and react differently with water also. So a lot of, once we sort of got an idea what we wanted, was this sort of scientific baking exercise in a way, where it's like how long is it in the oven, and like a little salt, a little pepper. I really wanted, after we decided this image, like this net to show great definition, but then I also wanted the ink to be flowing out. And I came to that idea because of all the experiments we've done before, where sometimes the ink would all be like, and you can really have a sense of the pressure and the ink flowing out, and you don't have the crisp definition. And then some would just be so super crisp. We'd be like, oh, that's so great. What if we got that with this, with flow? So we sort of got to that kind of technical aspect and sort of clubbing all of them, but you start to create a language, and then you start to create these other like goals within it.
Has it changed the way you think about paper? Has it changed, for instance, if you bought drawing paper, or if you have you been more interested in papers of various kinds because of your experience here?
Well, certainly, definitely more interested in paper, but what's neat about this is that the paper is the object, like a sculpture, so I can't just go buy paper and then have it do this, what we did.